I went through every major European country. There wasn't 1 second where I thought that I wanted to be anywhere other than the US. I grew up in Bombay in India. It's now called Mumbai. And I came to the US in August of 1969. I felt that the US was by far ahead of any other country in terms of not just the level of knowledge and the quality of the colleges and universities here, but also the entrepreneurial culture in the US and the freedom and openness in the US to sort of be the best that you can be. The first thing I remember is both a cultural challenge and a financial challenge. The financial challenge was the fact that I left India with a very small amount of money. I had less than $2.50 when I arrived in Pittsburgh. So the first challenge was to get a student loan. The US at that time, perhaps even now, has a great scheme called the Council for International Visitors. So I was, in a sense, adopted by a Pittsburgh family through the Council of International Visitors, and they put me up for the first 4 or 5 days so I could get acclimatized to the great differences between the US and India. Foreign students like me were still seen as a curiosity. The universities themselves were getting their first experience with what this batch of international students could actually achieve, either academically or in business. It was both more difficult and more exciting because we kind of thought ourselves, subconsciously anyway, as trailblazers. My ability to make the first US dollar was probably more difficult than that of many because I've never worked for an employer. In my case, something happened to me in those 2 years that I was getting my master's and my PhD, and I was bitten by the entrepreneurial bug. So I had to go raise a tiny amount of capital, around $30,000. That was the first capital that went into my first company. It was very difficult to raise, naturally, because I had no track record as an entrepreneur. I had only come to the US a few years earlier. But from that, I began to get a paycheck, which, if I remember right, was about $1,000 a month. But it felt great because it was my own company paying me. And it was about 3 or 4 years into that company that it just felt like the US was home. It wasn't always an easy ride. In fact, it was rarely an easy ride. I've gone through hundreds and hundreds of obstacles in my business career, but at each point I felt that it wasn't just about the desire to make a fast buck. It was all about honor, integrity, trying to do the right things for customers, trying to do the right things for shareholders, and trying to do the right things for employees. And that's always been my belief, that if you do the right things, that you're going to end up building a good company and the financial rewards will just be there.